Namaste, gods, goddesses, and emissaries of light. This is Dr. Shreya Tayanarimathia. And if you're new to my channel, please like, subscribe, and do not forget to hit that notification bell so you can be updated on my latest and my current videos. Welcome, 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 everyone. I was wakened out of my sleep. Sometimes those be the best recordings, but then it gets kind of irritating because it's like, why do you have to wait until I'm asleep? But this is the way that twin flames communicate. This is the way that the Most High communicates with us during sleep or in visions. I'm gonna have to do a part 3 of the twin flame connection videos, okay? Because I got more that's come to me, more insight, more inspiration and aspiration. It's just a lot of information about 2020 twins so I can help you on your journey, right? Along the way. So, what am I here to talk to you about today? I feel that the Most High has it on my heart to talk to you about letting go of the past, okay? Today is Judgment Day. We are standing. I don't know what the hell happened. My phone is stupid. We are standing in judgment before the Most High, not to a demigod, not to a lesser God, not to Yahweh, not to Jehovah, but to the Most High who created the whole universe and the universes and the multiverses that are within. We're in judgment. We're moving out of our carbon body into our crystalline bodies, and I will do another video on that coming up this week at the end of the week, probably on Friday. Um, but let me bring it all back to what um, is being told to me. Let go of the past. Open up to a new reality, even to a new you, because you're not even the same person that you were 10 years ago, 7 years ago, 5 years ago, 2 years ago, even 1 year ago. You're not the same. So, in my research on memory, it's kind of fascinating, and I just, I love to study. And I studied enough, and the way that we recount the past is not the way it happened to us anyway. It's distorted. This is the reason why the Most High tells us to move on from the past, because it's not really what happened. Like 50% of what pertained may be true, but the rest is embellished, okay? So if you do absolutely remember it being that way, the way that you say, so we don't have the same brain as we did when we were 8 years old, 12 years old, or 20 years old. When they tell stories, they tend to tell stories exactly the way that it happened, right? The story for many of us that are advanced in age, many people like us, we like to embellish our stories and make it seem even worse than what it really was, okay? But you're really, what you're saying is, I changed in those moments. And from a biological standpoint, I haven't been able to change. So let me tell you why it's been so hard for me to change. and the story becomes dramatized or embellished, and the person works themselves up, fire themselves up into an emotional frenzy, and then fires and wires the same circuits in the brain, and they're actually reaffirming their limitation. Now, there's nothing wrong with that, but I think we're just taking too long, right? So, 50% of that story isn't even the truth. It means, in a sense, we're reliving a miserable life that we never even had in the first place. And we don't want to, but that's just the unknown people would rather cling to. They're suffering. Now, this is not a judgment on anyone. We all do this from time to time. We'd rather stay in the known, rather to go into the unknown, rather to take a change in the unknown. Because those emotions of survival are saying what run from the unknown. The unknown is a scary place. So now the unknown, you got to come up against that moment where you're going to actually leave that behind and step into the unknown. This is not an intellectual process here, you guys. This is the David and Goliath. There's a battle going on when the body keeps wanting to go back to the familiar story. It wants to go back to that familiar state because it's subconsciously being conditioned to be the mind to stay in the known. So then, if the person keeps revisiting the trauma from the past, I'm not certain enough that when they revisit the trauma from the past, unless they learn how to desensitize their emotional response to it and what is going on, if it's going to work for them or not. What I've learned is that if the person overcomes the emotion, the memory without the emotional charge, it's called wisdom. And you no longer belong to the past. So the body gets frustrated. And in meditation, instead of taking your blindfolds off or turning the lights on and say, listen, I listen to the voice. I can't meditate. There is too much. The sincere person says, what's on the other side of I can't? What's on the other side of this emotion? Let me see it. Let me see if I can settle my body back down out of that emotion and recondition it to a new mind. And the act of doing that in the beginning is very tedious. And all of a sudden, the person starts getting better at it. And they're telling their body it's no longer the mind that their mind their mind is executing a will that's greater than that program. And just like training an animal, you say you're not going to die. I'm going to feed you. You can check your emails. You can check your texts. But this is my time right now. And you can keep doing that when the body keeps settling it. Let's move this emotion out. Let the body keep settling down to the present moment. Its apocalyptic, it surrenders to a new mind. And when that happens, we've seen this. We've measured it. There's a liberation of energy. We go from particly away. We go from matter to energy. That emotion is liberated from the body. And now there's energy to heal. There's energy to create a new life. It's a valuable energy. It frees up more energy. So the person goes, wow, I see it from a different level of consciousness. A different level of consciousness. I have nothing but love. Or, my goodness, I'm no longer that person. And they are now free from the past now. Side effect of that is that there's a biological upgrade that comes along with. There's a neurological upgrade. There's a chemical upgrade. There's a genetic modification that's taking place within you. Why do you think the same way you make the same choices, you do the same things, you create the same experience, you feel the same emotions, your biological deposition, composition will stay the same because you're the same. Now, the person's thinking differently. They're making different choices. They're doing different things or behaving in a different manner, in different ways. They're having new experiences, new opportunities are coming for them, and they're certainly feeling different emotions. The body recognizes to a new chemistry, and they'll tell you, I'm not that person anymore. Literally, they're right. I am literally not that person. And there are betrayers, even if they're family members. They have forgiveness for them. And what is forgiveness? You take your attention off the emotion. You overcome the emotion. You don't pay attention to the person or persons or the problem or problems. Now you're free. You free yourself. You freed yourself up. You freed them. And what if someone says to you, look, uh, I get what you're saying, but my ex-husband cheated on me, got a woman pregnant. Right. They should not have done that. I cannot forgive them for what they did to me. And the reason I'm asking is because this is exactly what happened to me. It happens more often than not. It takes a lot to forgive someone. And a lot of people push back. They go, yeah, I want to, but you don't know what this person did to me. You don't know what happened to me. This really, 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 really happened. It was really, really, really bad. Like, this can't be forgiven. What would you say to that person? I say to them, I want you to think about something in your life that you done that you would like forgiveness for, that you don't feel good about. And forgive that person the way that you would want to be forgiven. And you will be forgiving yourself. I mean, we all have done all kind of indiscretions, iniquitable things, bad things. Nobody's perfect. Nobody is. So that person that is in that state is still in the emotional state of problem. And with that being said, no new information can enter the nervous system that is not equal to the emotion the person is experiencing. And this is the reason why many of us have neurological problems and problems with our nervous system because we don't know how to forgive. Because it's not relevant. So the question really is, how long do you hold on? How long do you want to do that for? How long do you want to do that and again and again and again? Knowledge and information about what that is doing to that person's health and their biology and their autonomy. If you reason with we've had this happen enough times in our work experience, that's not an uncommon situation. When a person finally takes their attention off that and puts it on something else, they notice that they start to feel different. Yeah. If they can't you too? Can't you just tell a person to forgive because it's the right thing to do? No, you can't just tell somebody to forgive. They want to hold on to that shit for their life. That's what they want. Some people just use stuff as an emotional ink to crush, you know? They do. My phone is about to die. Anyway, I'm gonna get as much as I can out. So they're putting their focus and their attention on the wrong things. Instead, their attention, oh my God, I'm having technical difficulties. It's always when I have something good to talk about. Okay, so you can't just tell a person to forgive because it's not enough. Okay, it's kind of like a ethereal thing. It's a subjective process, right? So if you're okay, have you ever seen a person's oxytocin levels? And a lot of people I deal with have had opiate problems. So if it goes up to 200 times, right, that's a lot. And that's a lot of love. Oxytocin signals nitric oxide. Nitric oxide signals another chemical that literally causes the arteries in your heart and your lungs to actually expand. There's more energy, there's more blood going into your heart, okay? So when that person takes their attention off their ex, it takes their attention off their past and starts looking at themselves denaturing that identity that's built on the past so they can see that the person had a reaction to that circumstances and that reaction produces a refractory period of chemicals and emotions, right? And if you don't know how to control that refractory period and it lasts for hours or days, it's called a mood. You keep that same refractory period going on for weeks or months now. It's a temperate, one long emotional reaction. You can keep that refractory period going on and on and on for years. And that's a personality trait. And most people's personalities are defined by I am this way because my ex cheated on me. What you're really saying is that you haven't changed in 10 fucking years. And you're giving your vital life force to that person who is worth 10 years of your life. Yeah, who's worth it? You've been going through an emotional shitstorm for 10 years. So then, the stronger the emotion we feel, the more we pay attention to the cause. Where you place your attention is where you place your energy, people. A person's given their vital life force to heal their life force, to change that person or that circumstance or situation. It lowers the volume to that emotion. You'll take your attention off the person or promise not to bring the person up or the problem. They're using unconsciously that person or circumstances to reaffirm their addiction to that emotion. That's why they keep thinking about it. They weren't addicted to that emotion. If they weren't addicted to that emotion, they would stop thinking about it. So then, is it the person? No, it's your leftovers. Will you take your ex-wife or your ex-husband back? Uh, this is what we'll do. We'll take your ex-husband, we'll take your ex-wife and put him or her in a rocket and a straitjacket. How about that? Would that make you feel better? Let's shoot him or her to the moon. Now what? Now what? What do you do? Do you still have that feeling embossed in you, in your brain, and conditioned in your body? At what point? So then the research on oxytocin, oxytocin, sorry. I don't know about these drugs like that, but my research with oxytocin is you cannot talk around this with anyone. You can't say to someone, forgive this person, especially if they still feel the emotion that's there in the first place. The separate from the separation, they're separate from the act of forgiving. Imagine feeling so much love by no one's doing it to you or for you. It's naturally coming from within. You have that you have that moment that crisis where you feel that emotion, oxytocin levels go up just slightly in that research, just a little bit more elevated, an elevation of natural oxytocin. It makes it impossible to hold a grudge. They've done the research on the data. You cannot hold a grudge. It's possible you just go. I like this feeling better that and the feeling because I like feeling better than that. Feeling you're okay. Forget about it. Yeah, I'm good. I'm good. My mother used to say whatever. Whatever. When things didn't go her way, things pissed her off, she'd be like, whatever. She said to her whole life. Who falls in love again? That whose husband cheated on them falls in love again and finds a person who is intelligent and caring and understanding and kind and passionate and compassion and loving and provides all of a sudden they can forgive that person like, oh my God, I got what I always wanted. It had to happen. I had to forgive in order because I was holding myself back. I now have a better person in my life. Well, if you don't let go of that in which you're holding on to, you're never going to get better. You're never going to have this. In fact, if you bring that into the next relationship, you're not going to have a healthy relationship because there's going to be a trust issue on every level of the relationship. So then you want an equal, but you're not going to have a home. Write down exactly what you want and become that person that you put on paper and see what and the experiences that are going to come to you out of it. Try it out. It really works. Oh my God, it works. This emotion is actually now that I understand the science behind this emotion is actually weakening me every day. It's just knocking my brain and my body out of homeostasis. Stress is when our brain and body are knocked out of homeostasis and balance, turning on the stress response just by thought alone. Hormones of stress down-regulate genes and create disease. My thoughts are making me sick. Is that person or that circumstances or that situation worth it? If my thoughts can make me sick, is it possible that my thoughts can make me well too? Well, now you got to come up against the belief. No, I don't really want to believe this. Then that really means that you want to stay there emotionally in an emotional state and you want to stay sick. But go to another mindset where you see yourself changing. The miracles, the synchronicities, the opportunities, the coincidences, the healings. Oh, that's the place that you want to have your mind, your state of mind. Diseases leave people bodies, y'all. When they start to forgive people, they start to let go, and they stop holding people accountable for what they did in the past. You're holding these people in a mental prison, your own goddamn mental prison for that fact. Okay, half of these people have forgot about the shit they done to you, and they've forgiven themselves and moved on a long time ago. Eternity is a big place. You got to hold on to that emotion for how long you're not doing anything wrong. You've just taken too long. That's all. Yeah. And it works when you shift your thoughts. It works with anything within, with any and all people, especially people that want wealth. Some want wealth, but they can't get it because they go bankrupt. Some people go out of business. They lose their partners. Yeah, it takes your money. It takes your money away. A relationship, some people um, can have childhood trauma and it affects their whole relationship because they're looking for this wholeness. They're looking for this savior. They're looking for someone to come in and most people have abandonment issues. So then it's not just the emotion. The emotion is driving a certain behavior. The immersion emotion is driving a certain habit or a habit of action. The emotion is driving a certain series of thoughts that are associated with that person or that circumstance. If you truly believe that you have the power within you to change, the first step would be saying, I have to take responsibility for myself right now because I got to start thinking differently. I got to start with me. I got to start acting differently. So you start feeling different, and it's going to be hard. Yes, it is. But if it was easy, everybody would be doing it. But everybody's not. This is how you begin to really cultivate self love. This is where it starts at, people. I've studied this. When a person sits through the fire and sits through all of that anxiety, all of that fucking hatred, all of that fucking anger, it keeps lowering the volume sooner or later. The body is going to release it. And when it does release it, it's going to be at your demise. Forgiveness is a side effect. You take attention off of the person and the situation because you no longer have the emotion to keep your attention on it. In fact, you feel so good. It is so freeing that you don't even want to go back to that. Naturally, forgiveness is not like you're forgiving the bad shit and you're ignoring it and you're turning a blind eye. It's not like that. Hey, look, I'm forgiving you at this moment. It's just it's kind of like, wow, isn't life great? Yes, it is. Whoa, you're good. I mean, you're damn good. And it just keeps going and going and going, and good things start coming into your life, right? So emotions keep us stuck, people. If you're stuck in the past and you keep on telling the story and reaffirming the fucking story by telling the story over and over again, reaffirming, you're gonna have a very miserable life. Okay? But biochemically, you change as well this particular situation. Okay? When you forgive, blood pressure starts coming down, and you know this for far well, that holding on to stuff causes physiological changes in the body. Yes, subjectively, you'll start to feel great, but it is literally changing your physiology at the same time. And you know it, you can feel it. Let me just say one thing about this because you could have the most organic, vegan, gluten free, ketogenic, triple filtered water. Take all your vitamins, drink alkaline water to balance it out. Take all your nutrients, work out, do Pilates, do yoga, do your breathing, do all that you can to get your body chemically balanced, get your body physically balanced. But if you are not going to get your body emotionally balanced, forget it. Yeah, because the moment you get emotionally out of balance, your body literally goes out of balance too. And you go back to the past. That's the one that matters the most. And people, once they realize it, it's the emotions that signal the gene. Oh my God, I better start really taking care of my emotional body and balance it. As much as I do my physical exercises, my diet, and all the other stuff. Yeah, I completely agree. For many years, I was focused on food movements. I started off being a raw foodist, then I went to vegan, then I went to plant based. But now I realize I actually want to get to the root cause. So I work on my emotions, I do my shadow work, I do my dream journaling, and I've gotten so much better health wise than I did with just even a food. It's how you think, it's how you deal with conflict, guys. It's how you approach the world. It's also awareness. Like the really powerful ideal, one of the many powerful ideals that I focus on when I meditate is the evolution and the growth of who I am, Dr. Shria. hmm So we don't want the past. We don't want to revisit it. Okay. You can go through the emotions. You can go through the process, whatever you need to do to try to process it. But don't stay there for 10 years. That's just way too long. I mean, at the end of the day, we're humans. So we're programmed at that. We're programmed for survival. And when you're in survival and you're threatened, there's no longer a safe place. There's a danger you prepare for. The worst, you expect the worst, you expect the worst in people, you think everyone's going to treat you the same way. That's very traumatizing, actually. You're anticipating the event to happen again, you're waiting for the fucking shoe to drop, and that really is no way for a person to live. It's like they're preparing themselves for the worst case scenario, just in case of, because there's better chances of survival, you guys. If you prepare for the worst, so the brain naturally fabricates an outcome. But actually, in the end, it says, what if this happens? What if that happens? And now we're actually where there's really vivid imagination that is working against us in a lot of ways. So there's nothing wrong with this. I mean, if you want to keep experiencing it, we've all done it. But once you stop playing out those same old storylines, those false narratives, that's when the universe can bring in the good that you seek and wish. You'll have that healthy twin flame partnership and relationship dynamic. You're too wise to be stuck, chosen ones. Get wisdom from experiences of others. All right. By selecting to change your mind and reprogram your brain, what happens again is the brain is selecting out of the infinite potentials in the quantum field, the worst case scenario, and then the emotional embracing the outcome. Before it happens, a thought and a feeling is an image and an emotion and is a stimulus and response to that from the conditioning that your body has put the mind into out of the emotion of the past. Is their reliving the past in their future or their present moment going to help them become a better person? It becomes very visceral, and subconscious process takes it as an enormous amount of will it take the energy to break you down. It takes a whole lot of awareness and energy to help you to break that part of you that you have been on autopilot, auto press, auto replay so many years. So many brand scans of people that have had severe anxiety is because they lived in the past. And you cannot be anxious if you're in the present moment. You just can't. And they just kept on catching themselves going back to that thought, that same old thought, and getting in their brains and all their emotions in a frenzy, frustrated because they kept on living in the past. They kept on practicing being angry. There was a study done in Australia, and I say that when you practice being angry, you'll get good at being angry. If you practice being kind, you'll get really good at being kind, and it feels better at the core of your being. It's that simple. It's that simple, you guys. It really is. You know what you practice, you get good at. Exactly one thing I've heard that makes sense. You don't get up from a meditation until you've overcome the emotion, until you've reached that place of calm and gratitude and joy. You know, God's son to be perfect and joyful, whereas you now can choose for yourself what's a perfect state of mind. Okay? Don't time yourself when you meditate. Be still and see what comes up in your mind for 20 minutes, 30 minutes if you can go that long. And just sit with that emotion and move it through. Go through the process if you feel like crying, feel like stretching, you feel like beating the pillow up. Point is, do not stay there. Do not. So I'm saying to you, Judgment Day is here. Miracles are here. It's time for you to choose what's going to make you happy instead of what's going to make you sick. You don't want to create these self-fulfilling prophecies for yourself, putting yourself in circumstances that you don't even want to be in, but your thought is what made them that way. No, you don't. Some of you don't meditate. You need to meditate. How do you think that most of the people that we look up to have gotten to where they are? From meditation. That's it. That's all, y'all. You are the creator of your own reality. You create your own life. Life is what you shape it to be. If you don't make time to meditate, then don't. Don't do it. You don't believe you're the creator, and you're not believing in your past more than you're believing in your future. You show up to do the work because you want to believe in your future more than you believe in your past. There's some people that do this work that get up and believe less in their past because they don't overcome themselves. And then there's people who do it every day and they get up, they believe more in their future every day. And the side effects that are all of these wonderful changes and opportunities and new beginnings that start to happen in this person's life. And they say what everybody else says. I knew it. I knew it was the truth. I just had to prove it to myself. So it always is some inspirational being around you. Okay. Some person is watching and listening and says, hey, I understand what you're saying. I get it. But I don't have time to meditate. I'm too busy. What would you say to them? If someone came to me and said that, and many have, I would say, you can learn and change in a state of pain and suffering. It is an antidote. It is your connection to God. I mean, if you don't have time to heal the pain in your body or make those changes, nobody else is going to make time to do that for you. But when you do, you can, for the most part. I mean, I want to inspire people, but I'm not going to force nobody. That's not what I'm about to do. Whether you want to do it or not, wait for that crisis or that trauma or that disease or that loss to really change because Without it, you're going to get the same results. It's really out of my hands. The hardest part about it all is that I've seen so much transformation in my own life, witnessed it myself just from meditation. We can make time for our precious selves. When we invest in ourselves, we invest in our future. And in order for us to believe in ourselves, we have to believe in possibility. And we have to believe in ourselves. So it doesn't even have to be a long amount of time. It can be as little as 5 minutes. Do an experiment. Say, I'm not going to think about those thoughts. I'll write them down when I come out of meditation. But I'm not going to act this way or speak this way. And I'm not today going to work on just staying conscious of these feelings. Close your eyes for a few moments. And remember, you are not going to do these things. That's the first start. You just demystified meditation because meditation means to become familiar with that symbols, familiarization, to become so familiar with yourself that you can become familiar with the new self and not default back to the old person. We all default, we all react. That's not the question. The question is, how long are you going around? How long are you going to do that for? And so we have a choice. Try it out as an experiment, a little time, just a little time, less than 5 minutes every day. And make it a spiritual hygiene. Meditation is spiritual hygiene for me. I meditate every day, multiple times a day. You don't have the time, other people say. Well, I don't know the time you have, but I get up early in the morning, 5 o'clock every day, automatically. Make time. If not, life is going to be lifing, okay? Life is going to be hijacking you, and you won't even know it. Seriously. You know, people always talk about they want to become a millionaire or they want to become a billionaire, but y'all don't have millionaire, billionaire habits. Millionaires and billionaires meditate, baby. And it's just something that most of you guys are not willing to do. I don't know why. Do you remember when you was a little kid and you used to drift off and they called it daydreaming? That's a form of meditation. You automatically was born innately instilled to do this, but as adults, we resist everything. Remember, you used to take your power naps in kindergarten or elementary? You used to have to lay down and take naps. We would dream, we would have visions. Now we don't do that. Indian people, they know the power of taking naps. Indian people sleep a lot. Trust me. So, what would I like to say to you today? Give you some more rest and start meditating and let go of the past. Namaste.